All right, here we go. It's going to be ISO number 4 today. I'm going to start this sketch. If you're looking at ISO number 4, I'm actually going to start it from the right-hand side of the object. So I'm going to select right, and then I will view normal to sketch plane. And if I think about it, if I look at this object from the right or the left side, it's basically an L sort of shape. So I'm going to create that L shape. You can do that a couple different ways. I'm just going to do it with lines this time. So I'm going to start there, and go to there, go over, up, over, and you'll notice that all of that is all sorts of interesting. Now, sometimes it doesn't keep some of my last drawings. Oops. So I'm just going to go back in and edit that sketch and see if I can get a line to go from there to there to there. Okay. So now I'm going to get these points to go where I want them to. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use some constraints. And so I'm going to take that point and I want to make it horizontal compared to that point. I want them to be, horizontal from each other. So I'm going to use that horizontal constraint right there. And then if I select this point, we have coincident. Those 2 points, yeah, there's not much going on there. So I'm going to try and get those points vertical from each other. And I'm going to get these, points vertical from each other, which I think they already are, but I'm just going to make sure. Vertical. And I want these points horizontal. And I want these points horizontal. Now the other ones pretty much already were what I wanted to be, but that will help us. All right, so now I'm going to make some dimensions. So I want this to be 5 units long. I want this to be 2 units tall. I want this to be 5 units tall. I want this to be, 2 units wide. And now everything is secure. So I'm going to hit check mark to finish that sketch. And then I'm going to extrude this. Now because, well, actually I'll just do an extrusion first. Tap on that. All right. Now this extrusion needs to be the whole width of this object, which should be 8 units. So I'm going to make that 8. Check mark. Okay. Now, I know that in the middle, I'm going to try to make another part, that little slant that's in the middle. So because I'm going to try to do that, I'm going to, instead of doing a blind end type, I'm going to do a symmetric end type so that I still have my work plane in the middle. All right. So it's just a little trick to use. And then that should be good. So I'm going to check mark there. All right. So now I'm actually going to create a new sketch on that work plane right there that's in the middle. I might have to tap over here and view normal. All right, and that sketch is actually going to be a really simple one because I'm just going to make a line that goes from up there to down here. Well, I don't know why it's doing that to me today. All right, so I want to go from there to there. And we'll just do that for now. I can force the intersection, so I can go I'm going to turn off the tool. I'm going to select that point and that corner right there and do coincident. And then I'm going to do the same thing up here. That point, coincident, and wait for it to work. there it are. Okay, there it went. All right, so now you can see that that line is black, meaning it's constrained fully, and that's all I'm going to need. So I'm going to hit check mark. I'm going to go to extrude, and oh, it's not going to complete for me. Okay, so there's an easy way to deal with that. I'm going to go back to the sketch and edit it, and I just need to complete that triangle. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the line tool again, start there, and go to here, and over to there. And then I could tell when I did that that it didn't quite put that bottom corner, this one right here. Yikes. It did not quite make it coincident with the corner that I wanted it to. So I'm going to select those two and make them coincident. And again, it's going to apparently take some time. I'm not sure why. In the meantime, I'll get rid of this random thing. So I'm going to highlight those, double tap, hit delete, and that got rid of that random line that was sitting there. All right, so now I have something. So notice how in the middle there it changed color. So that told me that I can now use that as a surface when I want to do an extrude. So now I'm going to extrude that right there. And I need to make it 2 units wide. And it's just being extra slow. All right, and again, I don't want it to go all one direction. I want it to be symmetrical. So I'm going to choose a symmetric end type, hit check mark, and I'm most of the way there. So I just have one thing left, and that's that I got to cut out this corner right here. There's lots of ways to do that. We can do a new sketch, but there's actually something even cooler, and it's called a chamfer. Chamfer is a 3D, it's kind of like a fillet, only it's a flat edge instead of a rounded edge. So I'm going to do a chamfer on that corner right there. Yep, that's the one I want to chamfer. And this one is not an equal distance. If you take a look at that, it's 2 blocks wide and 3 blocks tall. So it will not be equal distance, it will be 2 distances. So for distance 1, I need to be able to see this thing, so I'm going to move it out here. I'm going to just see what distance 1 is representing. So I'm going to do that for a second. Okay, distance 1 is the horizontal distance, so I want that to be 2 units. And then distance 2, I need that to be 3 units. There we go. We got the chamfer, and we have the part.